When you heard that Von got killed, how'd you feel?
Hey, look, some people need to be gone, bro. You know what I'm talking about, in order for shit to get better.
Lil Tim is back in the spotlight, and the reaction is pure hate. What followed didn't just shake the streets, it reignited every emotion tied to King Von's death. From cold silence to sudden tension, rappers are moving in ways that make it clear the anger toward Lil Tim isn't over, and something much bigger is brewing behind the scenes. Fatal Night. The night that changed modern hip-hop began like any other. Two rising stars, a buzzing city, and a sense of celebration in the air. It was late 2020 in Atlanta, and the rap scene was alive with energy. King Von had just released new music, his career on the rise after years of dedication to his craft. Quando Rondo, another young artist gaining momentum, was in town with his team. What started as a night of music and movement turned into one of the most talked about and heartbreaking moments in recent hip-hop history.
No. Yo, you sit down. You can sit ass over here. You can sit ass over here. Yo, you better watch out. This is my brother, bro. Okay? Hey, come on, chill. You come with me, okay? Okay.
Outside an Atlanta hookah lounge, tension escalated when both entourages unexpectedly crossed paths. What happened next was brief but devastating. A confrontation, confusion, and then gunfire that sent shockwaves across the world. When the chaos cleared, King Von had been critically injured. Emergency crews rushed him to the hospital, but news soon broke that he hadn't survived. Within minutes, social media lit up. Videos from the scene spread rapidly, drawing millions of views and sparking an avalanche of speculation. Law enforcement later confirmed that multiple individuals were involved and that the case would remain under investigation as evidence and statements were gathered. But in the world of social media, conclusions formed almost instantly. Fans pointed fingers, rumors flew, and the digital streets erupted with grief, disbelief, and anger. For many, it didn't matter who was right or wrong. What mattered was that another promising life in hip-hop had been lost. Within hours, King Von's name was trending worldwide. Fellow artists poured in tributes, fans filled comment sections with heartbreak emojis, and the reality of the situation began to sink in. Von's authenticity, his storytelling, and his connection to Chicago's drill roots made the loss feel deeply personal to millions. Across timelines, people shared clips of his interviews, freestyles, and moments of joy, reminders that behind the fame, there had been a human being chasing his dream.
Yes. Yo, hell no, you ain't pulling on, bro.
We gotta get
Sister can leave.
Somebody gang on the gas, bro.
Charles, bro.
Meanwhile, a new name started circulating in connection with the tragedy, and the narrative quickly polarized fans. Instead of allowing official reports to guide the conversation, online culture amplified speculation and blame. This social media storm became bigger than the facts themselves. Entire communities of supporters and critics formed overnight, each with its own version of events. The real investigation was still in motion, but the court of public opinion had already chosen sides. That chaotic night revealed something far deeper than just a single altercation. It exposed how vulnerable artists are when fame, loyalty, and street realities collide. In a culture where every action is recorded and replayed, moments of violence become public property, analyzed, remixed, and debated by millions who weren't even there. The incident became more than a breaking news headline. It became a turning point in hip-hop's conversation about safety, pride, and survival. Fatal Night isn't just about what happened in Atlanta, it's about what it represented. A reminder of how quickly celebration can turn into tragedy, how grief becomes content, and how the industry keeps moving even as fans struggle to process the loss. Instant backlash. The morning after the Atlanta incident, the hip-hop world woke up in shock. News of King Von's death spread faster than any official statement could be made, and before long, the internet had turned into a storm of emotion. Fans weren't just mourning, they were furious. What had happened overnight didn't just take away one of drill's brightest rising voices. It had reignited an old debate about violence, loyalty, and survival in rap culture. On social media, emotions ran wild. Thousands of tweets, Instagram lives, and reaction videos filled feeds within hours. For many, it wasn't just the loss of a rapper. It was the loss of someone they felt represented their story, their pain, and their city. Chicago's music scene felt it the hardest. Von had come from the streets of O Block, carrying that background into his music without filters. His death didn't just break hearts, it reopened wounds that the city had seen too many times before. Meanwhile, in the middle of this wave of grief, another name began trending. Lil Tim. As reports and rumors spread, fans started connecting dots, drawing their own conclusions and voicing anger toward anyone associated with the confrontation. What followed wasn't a measured investigation, but a digital manhunt. People demanded answers, called for justice, and flooded comment sections with outrage. It didn't take long before Lil Tim's social media accounts were overwhelmed with messages, threats, and criticism. The backlash wasn't just from fans. Several artists, influencers, and bloggers weighed in, adding fuel to the fire. Some expressed grief for Von while condemning the culture of violence that seemed to follow rap's biggest names. Others chose silence, unwilling to take sides in such a sensitive situation. But no matter how anyone reacted, one thing was clear. This wasn't going away anytime soon. The energy online was heavy, emotional, and divided.
So like Von is like rumored to have him killed. Does is a motherfucker, bro. Like, why would you invite that? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't like that, bro. There's levels to this shit. I would never say I'm like Von, for not even got.
Lil Tim quickly became one of the most controversial figures in the hip-hop conversation. Even without direct statements or interviews, his name was everywhere. Fan pages dissected the few clips available from that night. Reaction channels debated what really happened, and music journalists speculated on how this event would affect both camps. The backlash turned into a narrative, one that painted Lil Tim as the face of an event that fans would never forget. For many artists, this was a moment to step back and reflect on the dangerous line between fame and the streets. Rappers who had once moved in similar environments recognized the weight of the situation. Some offered condolences quietly, others released tributes in Von's honor. But within fan circles, the emotional response was far more personal. It wasn't just about losing a favorite artist, it was about what he represented. King Von had embodied the rise from struggle to success, and his loss hit like a gut punch to millions who saw him as proof that you could make it out. The backlash against Lil Tim marked the beginning of a long, tense chapter in hip-hop. It wasn't just anger, it was the creation of an image that would follow him everywhere he went. The online world had made up its mind, and in an era where perception shapes everything, that judgment would become nearly impossible to escape. Industry divide. In the weeks following King Von's death, the shock that rippled through fans began to reach deeper into the heart of the hip-hop industry. What started as emotional reaction online quickly evolved into something larger, a quiet but visible divide among artists, labels, and crews. Lines were being drawn, and the entire scene was watching closely to see who would stand where.
Saying real deal, king of drill. Ain't never seen like Von. Everything he ever spoke in his series was true. Everything you ever heard say was true. Yeah, it's all good. RP my I love you.
King Von's close relationship with Lil Durk and the OTF, Only the Family Collective, meant the situation carried enormous emotional and professional weight. Von wasn't just Durk's artist, he was family, both personally and musically. Together, they had represented the Chicago movement that pushed drill music from the streets to the global stage. After the tragedy, Durk's social media went silent for days. When he finally spoke, it wasn't with words, it was with music. His tributes to Von, both subtle and direct, were emotional reflections of loyalty and pain, and fans responded with raw empathy. On the other side, Quando Rondo, who had been directly connected to the altercation, faced his own storm. Even though he wasn't accused of wrongdoing in an official capacity, public opinion turned against him almost instantly. His name became linked to the tragedy in a way that would define his image for years. Concerts were canceled, venues pulled out, and tensions rose every time his name was mentioned. For many artists, supporting him publicly became a risk, one that could draw backlash from Von's loyal fan base or cause tension in existing partnerships. This is where the industry divide became most visible. Rappers, producers, and influencers found themselves in the middle of an emotional tug of war. Some stayed completely silent, choosing not to engage at all. Others expressed sympathy for Von's family while refusing to speak on anyone else's involvement. But a small few voiced support for Quando Rondo, defending his right to protect himself and navigate the chaos that followed. Those statements, however, came at a cost. Social media users were quick to screenshot, repost, and call out anyone who seemed to be siding with the wrong team.
At that moment, I still didn't know exactly who he was. In my mind, I just know like shit, I was just protecting my little brother.
When you did finally find out that it was King Von who died, how'd you feel?
Behind the scenes, that tension bled into the business side of the industry. Collaborations were paused, show bookings quietly adjusted, and publicists advised their clients to avoid commenting on anything related to the incident. For years, rap has thrived on authenticity, but in moments like this, that authenticity became dangerous. Saying the wrong thing could spark new feuds, lose endorsements, or even threaten personal safety. Meanwhile, the streets had their own version of the story. Fans from different cities turned the tragedy into a cultural battleground. Chicago versus Georgia, OTF versus others, loyalty versus neutrality. It wasn't just about two artists anymore. It was about identity, pride, and regional legacy. The divide grew louder every time someone dropped a new track or hinted at past drama. By the time 2021 arrived, the separation in the hip-hop world was clear. Some artists tried to move forward, focusing on positivity and healing, while others felt obligated to stand by their fallen peers. The loss of King Von didn't just end one life. It reshaped the relationships, alliances, and rivalries that defined an entire generation of rappers. The industry divide wasn't created overnight, but this event made it impossible to ignore. In an environment where image and loyalty are everything, silence itself became a statement, and every artist had to choose whether to speak, stay quiet, or risk getting caught in the middle. Tim speaks. For months after the incident, Lil Tim stayed out of the public eye. The world was talking about him, but he said little. His silence only added fuel to the fire, as fans, blogs, and YouTubers speculated endlessly about what he might say if he ever broke it. And then, finally, he did. When Lil Tim first spoke publicly, it wasn't in a long interview or dramatic press release. It came through short social media posts and brief moments caught on camera. His tone was calm, but his message carried weight. He was standing on what he believed was right. He emphasized that the situation was about survival, not fame or clout. For many fans, though, that explanation didn't change their emotions. They had already built their image of him, and that image was hard to shake. Soon after, Lil Tim began addressing the situation through music. His songs didn't go into graphic detail, but they carried a message of defiance and pride. For his supporters, it was an expression of his truth. For his critics, it sounded like arrogance. The music drew mixed reactions. Some praised him for using art to cope, while others accused him of provoking more negativity. Either way, the tracks gained attention, drawing hundreds of thousands of streams and reigniting the debate around his name. As interviews started surfacing, Lil Tim's perspective became clearer. He spoke about loyalty, fear, and the way fame can change everything. He mentioned how quickly people turned on him and how the internet twisted the story. These statements gave fans a rare look at the emotional and psychological pressure of being at the center of such a high-profile tragedy. But in the eyes of many, no explanation could undo what had already happened. Meanwhile, his camp, including Quando Rondo, continued to face pushback. Concerts were disrupted, tours canceled, and security costs soared. Even when they tried to move forward musically, the cloud of controversy followed everywhere. Lil Tim's name became shorthand for conflict, and his image, fairly or not, was defined by that single night in Atlanta. Despite the criticism, Tim appeared determined to stand firm. His interviews carried a sense of frustration at being labeled and judged by millions who didn't know him personally. He talked about being misunderstood and how the internet's obsession with drama turned his real life into entertainment. That frustration is something many artists relate to, the feeling of losing control over your own story once it becomes part of online culture.
He was a serial killer who bragged about killing people, and he professed and confessed to be a demon.
He was that, bruh. If he wanted you out of there, he'll go do it himself on feet by himself.
Von gave me a lot of passes. He could have killed me a couple times.
I was happy as hell when I found out Von was dead. I cooked for the whole day.
I was relieved for the community, man, because he was over there torturing them guys, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man.
Something was wrong with him. That's not human, man. You're not regular, man. He was the devil, man.
How are you rich and you're robbing people? You robbing producers. You robbing rappers. You got money.
So from what I hear, that documentary proves everything to be true. He is a serial killer, and he was a demon in human form.
For some fans, Lil Tim's words humanized him. They saw someone caught in a violent, high-stakes situation that spiraled beyond his control. For others, the damage was already done. No amount of explanation could earn forgiveness or understanding. In that divide, Lil Tim's public identity was cemented, not as a rising artist, but as one of the most polarizing figures in recent hip-hop memory. When Lil Tim finally spoke, the world listened, but they didn't all hear the same thing. To some, it was a defense. To others, a provocation. And to the industry, it was another reminder of how one night can define a person's entire career. Street fallout. After Lil Tim broke his silence, the streets didn't calm down. If anything, they became louder. The backlash, threats, and tension that had been brewing online now spilled into real life. Concerts were canceled, cities tightened security around shows, and the line between music and street politics blurred even more. Every time Quando Rondo or Lil Tim's name appeared online, the comment sections erupted. Fans of King Von and the Chicago scene flooded timelines with anger, while others defended Tim's right to speak his truth. The internet became a battleground, filled with reaction videos, diss tracks, and heated debates. What might have been a local street feud transformed into a global talking point, amplified by social media algorithms and hip-hop gossip pages.
You got a name, nigga. Young Kyle.
Young Freshida. It's King Von.
King Bob.
Yeah.
King Bob.
King Von.
King Von. I'm sorry.
K-I-N-G.
What made you want to sign King Von?
Cause he got a whole story behind him. Know what I'm saying? He from O Block.
Okay.
Know what I'm saying? That should speak for itself. Nah. But know what I'm saying? He just real. Know what I'm saying? His music. He just a real nigga. I fuck with him. Know what I'm saying? It's my brother. Twin.
O Block, that's what 6ix9ine posted up at.
Nah.
For 15 seconds.
That's not this place?
You know?
Right there. 5 in the morning. I don't think maybe outside 5 in the morning.
What's the story? What's your story?
My story shit. I just got to jail for just beat a body in 2 attempts. Like, December, I just got out, started rapping shit. I got the crazy story from the drop. Got the War With Us and got Problems out. Shit, right now, shit, I'm on up and coming shit.
So you was in jail for 2 murders?
Yeah, 1 murder and 2 attempts. I just beat.
Inside the industry, things were equally tense. Artists who had worked with both camps suddenly went quiet. Collaborations got shelved, and people started choosing sides carefully. A single comment or like on Instagram could ignite controversy. For many rappers, staying neutral wasn't cowardice, it was survival. Nobody wanted to get dragged into a situation that had already caused so much. At live shows, the energy was unpredictable. When Quando Rondo tried performing in different cities, he faced protests and crowd hostility. Some venues refused to host him altogether, fearing violence. Even innocent fans felt the tension. Wearing the wrong shirt, playing the wrong song, or quoting the wrong lyric could spark confrontations. The fallout from that one night had spread far beyond the 2 crews. It had infected the entire atmosphere of hip-hop's younger generation. Meanwhile, Lil Tim's image hardened into something unshakable. To supporters, he was a survivor who stood his ground. To critics, he was the face of a tragedy that shouldn't have happened. Every move he made was scrutinized, from his songs to his silence. Even his attempts to live normally became headlines. The hate wasn't just from fans. It came from influencers, media pages, and rival rappers who used his name for clout. Behind the scenes, friends close to both sides tried to cool things down. Some spoke about forgiveness, others about understanding. But on the internet, peace rarely trends. The loudest voices are the angriest ones. And in this case, those voices drowned out any hope for resolution. The situation became a symbol of everything toxic about fame, rivalry, and street loyalty, a reminder that real lives don't reset after viral moments. For Lil Tim, the fallout meant isolation. Every step had to be planned, every show heavily secured. His music, no matter how personal, was heard through a filter of judgment. He could no longer separate who he was from what the world believed about him. In a way, that's the hardest part, not the hate itself, but being trapped in a version of yourself that millions refuse to let go of. By this point, it wasn't about who was right or wrong anymore. It was about the ripple effects, the fear, the loss, the scars that never fully fade. The streets had spoken, the industry had responded, and the internet had amplified it all. What started as a single moment now lived on as a never-ending conversation, one that defined reputations, ended friendships, and changed the direction of hip-hop forever. Hard lesson. The saga surrounding Lil Tim and the aftermath of King Von's death serves as a stark reminder of how quickly fame, loyalty, and street realities collide in modern hip-hop. While fans debate, media outlets dissect, and rappers navigate alliances, the bigger picture is often lost: the human cost of being thrust into a high-stakes, highly publicized environment. For Lil Tim, the experience became a case study in survival, reputation, and the consequences of one fateful night. One of the clearest lessons from this chapter is how the industry handles tragedy. Hip-hop is a space where authenticity is celebrated, but authenticity also comes with risk. Artists like Lil Tim are expected to navigate both their personal realities and the demands of public perception. Social media amplifies every misstep, every statement, every appearance, creating a pressure cooker environment where mistakes are magnified and support is conditional. The backlash Lil Tim faced demonstrates just how volatile this space can be and how quickly an individual's narrative can be shaped by external forces. Another takeaway is the enduring power of loyalty. King Von's supporters, especially those connected to OTF, showcased the intensity of their dedication. Every social media post, tribute, and diss track reinforced the idea that loyalty extends far beyond music. It's about community, identity, and standing for what someone represents. This loyalty shaped public opinion in real time, creating an environment where Lil Tim was not just critiqued for his actions, but judged as a symbol of a larger cultural divide. The incident also highlights the complicated relationship between street culture and mainstream success. While drill and rap music have brought artists incredible opportunities, they also carry inherent risks. Neighborhood ties, past conflicts, and rivalries can quickly intersect with fame, putting artists in situations where personal safety, public perception, and career ambitions clash. Lil Tim's story illustrates this tension vividly. One night's events can define a career, reshape public image, and create repercussions that last for years. At the same time, the narrative offers lessons for fans and followers. The speed at which social media amplifies outrage can be both informative and destructive. Platforms that were designed to share music, art, and culture can just as easily fuel division, escalate conflicts, and trap individuals in cycles of judgment. Understanding this dynamic is essential for anyone following the drama, reminding audiences that behind viral moments are real people with complex lives and pressures that outsiders often cannot see. Ultimately, the hard lesson is one of perspective. Lil Tim's story isn't just about him. It's about the industry, the fans, and the culture that surrounds hip-hop. It's about understanding how loyalty, rivalry, and public perception intersect, and how quickly a single event can ripple through music, social media, and communities worldwide. It's a reminder that in hip-hop, as in life, actions are magnified, reputations are fragile, and lessons are often learned the hard way. By reflecting on this story, the industry, fans, and aspiring artists are offered insight into the high stakes of modern rap culture. The events surrounding Lil Tim and King Von's death aren't just headlines. They are enduring lessons about loyalty, consequence, and the weight of fame in a world that rarely slows down. The fallout from that fateful night reshaped hip-hop's conversation about loyalty, rivalry, and consequence. What lessons do you think fans and artists should take from this story? Let us know in the comments below.